Welcome back to another video with That's Awkward ASMR. Today I am unboxing the Xbox Series X. I'm going to give you some of my first impressions and what I think so far after having it for about a weekend. I did actually record this video with like live reactions, but the box is so big that like I was fumbling and the ASMR wasn't good, so I have voiced this over. So let's get into it. The box is pretty standard. It has the top of the Series X on the front. On the side, it actually showcases the Series X with the Xbox symbol at the top with the controller and some more labeling. The back has Master Chief on it. RIP to that game, didn't release on time for launch. It says Power Your Dreams and then more information about other things in Game Pass. The other side has more information about frames per second, 8K, the SSD, etc. So feel free to pause and read it, or you can definitely buy it and then read it yourself. And that's about it. The box is pretty simple. They had these really handy sticky tabs that were really easy to pull off. The only reason I'm taking a while is because I was so afraid it was going to rip the box, but it actually didn't, even though it did end up sticking to my desk and ripping up some of the finishing. I don't know what the box is made of, but it's made of something stronger than my table. So they're on the right and left sides of the back of the box, and on the bottom back of the box there are two tabs. They're really easy, honestly, to rip off, and it made it really easy to open the box. You can shake the box and feel that the Xbox is really tucked in there. You flip it open and there it is. This is the cleanest unboxing I have ever seen, or thing I've ever unboxed. The Series X is right there in the middle, very padded, with this plasticky thing around it. I was kind of scared to touch it, but it was like a plasticky, wrap in the top. If you pop that open, you'll be able to see your standard things that are usually in a box. If you've opened a console box before, if you haven't, you got your power cables, your HDMI cable as well will be in there, and so will the instruction packet will be in there as well. I recommend you read that if you're a new console owner. If not, you pretty much know what that says. And the controller is also up in there, which we will actually get to in a minute, but I really do like the new controller. So the Xbox is actually kind of heavy. It took me a minute to actually pull it up out of the foam. It's really snug in there, and for some reason for me it was heavy. It's much heavier than a 1S, and I also didn't want to ruin it because I really loved its presentation, so I tried to pick it up from the sides, but they actually have those holes in the top and bottom for you to slip your hands in and lift it out and cradle it. Underneath the Xbox, in my case, there was a little pamphlet thing, kind of like a thing they hang on the door at a hotel or something if you're don't disturb or something because you want to eat your room service in peace. It's there. It's just instructions for how to set up the Xbox. It does have to connect to the internet the first time it is turned on. And so it kind of takes you through that process of a quick setup and how to use your phone to sign in. It's so easy to do with the phone, but I know some people had reported they were having issues with that. So if it works, awesome, but it worked for me. As soon as I figured out how to sign in and everything, it was good to go. So here is the Xbox. You can see it's just kind of folded like gift wrap with that thing around it. So once you take the really nice touch of the Power Your Dreams banner wrapped around, slide that off, you kind of just unwrap it. So I've sped it up because it took me a minute because I didn't want to rip up that paper. And then it's in there, and it's honestly way bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's just thick. I put a Xbox One case up against it, so it's a little bit, like a tiny bit wider on all sides. It's the same, and maybe it's one game case and a bit. I don't know, maybe like 2 game cases, I would say. On the side, there are rubber feet, so you can choose to have it standing or you can lay it down sideways. This is what it's like sideways. The button, the start button is this black, like, I don't know, this black finish. It's so nice. It's also like that on the controller, and I really love it. I never usually press it. I usually just press my Xbox controller's button to turn on my Xbox, but it feels a little more like tighter, not as loose as it on the 1S. There is a button for your Bluetooth to find your controller, a USB port, and your disk drive. And your disk, basically the art on your disk faces away from the thick part of the console. The other side just has an etching of an Xbox and then just HDMI ports on the back. I did find actually it transfers fingerprints very easily. The matte, as good as it looks, transfers fingerprints, so be careful. The top, I'm sorry, this might freak some of you out, it doesn't glow green. It is like printed green on the inside. Next, we have the controller. So the controller is basically a revised edition. It's kind of like a cross between the Pro and the original controller. It is shaped very slightly differently than the 1S controller. As you can see, the D-pad is also very different, very close to the Pro controller, and the back actually has this, you can see this finish, and it's like a grip. It's really nice. It feels very, very nice in the hands. The grip feels like I'm never gonna let go of that thing. I do get sweaty hands when I play sometimes, and I don't think that would ever bother me. Again, the D-pad is different. There is also a share button, but just like the Series X, fingerprints do transfer pretty easily. It is slightly shaped differently, more of a hand form fit than the other one was, and my dad said this was the more comfortable controller in the hand with his bigger hands than the new PS5 controller. So he still likes the Xbox controller and said it's the most comfortable one. I will do a buttons test for you in a minute, but the buttons feel almost like they're lower. I really love the way the buttons feel pressing them down, and these sticks also feel really nice compared to last generation's controllers. And there's also grip on the top triggers and bumpers. Really slick. It's also a USB-C connection, and I will be getting a charge and play kit because I am sick and tired of buying batteries. I'd rather just charge and play, so I will be grabbing that when it's available. But very nice. You know, and I also enjoy that the actual triggers are lower. I don't know how to explain that, but they're like smaller compared to the S. The S had very swoopy, like, I don't know, like, you know, triggers, and I really didn't like the plasticky feel. I'm going to show you the difference between them. They're very similar. There's no grips, obviously, on the back of the 1S controller, and the triggers here, they're just so much longer. It feels like it's just so much better of a feeling on the new one. The new one isn't like you know, not like a DualSense. It's not like a huge crazy improvement, but it does feel so much better in the hands. It's so much more comfortable, and that makes it feel way more premium. I was playing Horizon, the racing game. I never pronounce it right, and he roasts me. I'm not gonna say it, but I was playing it, and I noticed every time the car would like accelerate, the trigger I accelerate with, like that whole side of the controller would vibrate, but not the other one, and vice versa if I was backing up. So that was really interesting. The vibration feels very different on this controller than it did on the last one to me. And here's a sound test. So now we're going to do a quick graphics comparison. This is the game Prey, and there is a huge difference. As you can see, I kind of froze the frame. You can see scratches on the pistol. You can see the light reflection is so different on the ground. Such a big difference. I actually never noticed there was even a red button on the weapon, like when I had it in my hand. So it looks so different, and that is not a game that was optimized for Series X and S, just like this is Sea of Thieves, which you can also see a huge lighting difference. Even though the weather, I couldn't get the weather to be the same, but it was a huge difference, as you can see. And it sounds better, and it looks and feels better, it plays better. The frames when you're turning are noticeably different, and so with Prey not being optimized for Series X will automatically try and optimize older games for you. So here you can see I'm showing my games, what's on my Series X right now. If there's an XS, it has been optimized for Series S and Series X, but all games, like you can see Prey there doesn't have it. It will optimize them as best that it can. It's just not that the developers made it optimized, but it does a really good job. Older games look amazing. So that's about it. I've had no heating issues. It's been so fast at downloading games. I haven't had really any issues. I've just enjoyed it. And honestly, if you want to upgrade from a 1S, I'd say go for the jump. I'd say do it. It's worth it. Even if you get a Series S, I've heard that the difference is huge. And just with this Series X, I mean, it's pretty amazing, and I'm excited to be making more content with it and streaming with it as well, just playing all kinds of games. So that was my first impressions unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it and have sweet dreams.